up, world? Welcome back to the third part of this series where I'm mentioning some of the tips and errors I made while applying for internships and hoping that you learn from the mistakes I made. By the time I'm recording this this third part, I had received callbacks to work in two more places that I had applied to and I wasn't expecting. So in this video, what I'll be doing is I'll be mentioning some of the mistakes I made in the month of June and what I finally learned and what I finally did to get called back to 3 places and 5 places, that is plus the 2 that I have mentioned, which was in the month of July. I'll be combining it with the month of June to get one video. So I'm glad you've been with me through to the very end of this series, and keep supporting me and thank you. So first of all, in the month of June, I like to emphasize the point on punctuality. Punctuality still costed me. So I was called to 2 interviews. I had 2 interviews during that month, and for one of the places I was late. And you see that cost me. And then the other part was and then the other one the other part I landed because there were 2 interviews. So one I was late and the other one I got. It was a test plus an interview. I think I did well in the test and I also did well in the interview. These times I wasn't late, as you can see. I was called back, though I was told to come back like 3 days later or 4 days later. And I didn't get to take that job. I didn't accept that opportunity. So after that interview, the one that I got, I was so desperate to get an internship because it was almost coming to an end to the period you were given by the school. So I was so desperate, and when I got home, I went to Google. I searched for the keyword I used was software engineering companies in Nairobi. That is what I searched for, and I took a piece of paper and wrote all the numbers and the name. So the name on the side, then the number that was provided on the page, on the jobs page in Google. You know them. So after that, I took my phone and went through the list and researched. So I was doing some research, writing down on that piece of paper and then calling. And what I was doing is I was telling them the work I admire that they have done, like just the usual things, and finally asking if they have a position. So most of them told me that for now I send my CVs and documents, and when a position finally opens up in the company, they'll call me. So I did that, and I really called a lot of numbers. Like it was 2 pages of an A4, like a book like this. 2 pages of an A4. So first page and second page, I had written like software engineering companies in Nairobi, the name of the company, the phone number, some details I had researched. So that was the format of the paper I was using. So I called a lot of those companies. They told me to send my CV, my documents. I did. But there was this one company I called, and they picked up, and I finally got to explain myself. I told the person on the other end of the phone call, I told him that I liked the work his company did, that I love to be part of his company. Most of the things I did were just maybe most of it were from a book. There was a certain book I was reading. I'll share the name of the book. So basically I think that book helped me land this job. I'll share the name of the book at the end of the video. So where was I? So I called and explained my case to this guy and told him that I really admired the company's work. I really admired the work they were doing. I listed some projects they had done that intrigued me and how I will learn from them. I told them like the values that I will provide, the value I will add to the company and stuff like that. And he told me to begin to like come to the office on Monday the next week. And he didn't even ask for my CV and those documents. He just told me that you can begin work. This is what he said. It's in Kiswahili. Alisema kuja kwa ofisi on Monday. Yeah. So that is how I landed my internship. It was luck. That is pure luck, by the way. I'm not saying it will happen to you too, but that was the approach I took. After being desperate for some time, I took my phone and called them. Yeah. Uh, so first of all, I'd like to mention some of the mistakes I noticed I did during the first interview that I was called to. This was like the one I told you I was late. Yeah, first of all, I was late. That is one thing you should always avoid doing. And another thing is avoid applying to big companies. There are a lot of competition. Uh, Imagine someone has been applying like for the last how many years at these big companies, and you're coming there with application that you sent out or you're just sending it out, and you see you not get. Yeah. So that was it. Most of the advice, most of the things I did right until I got called to that one place, I took those points from a book. It's called, I'll mention the name at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Yeah, so the first one is like, how do I put this without. Hmm. Uh, if you admire that company, don't be afraid to praise it. Give it genuine compliments. Like for me, this is what they have made many solutions. They have made POSs, they have made school management systems, and I had researched before. I had seen these things, and so I had the knowledge. I called and told them like, wow, I really admire the work you've done. Your POS looks great. I've seen the school management system. It is awesome, and I'd also like to learn from you people because you experience more than I am, and that will be some invaluable experience. You see, I softened the heart of I think I softened the heart of the owner of the company because it was him who I was talking to. His name was listed as on the number for the Gmail on Google. Yeah. So the other thing is be friendly. Yeah, I know you're looking for a job, but you don't know how the other person's day has been, the one you're talking to. So you need to be friendly. You need to know first of all, like, yeah, uh, you know what being friendly means. I won't explain it. Uh, the next thing is talk about the company you're applying to. Don't talk about yourself too much. As I said, as you've seen, like even the point on praises, I was giving them praise on the work they have done, not selling myself. I was telling them like the work they have done could be valuable to me because I want to learn from them. You see, that is like how I can phrase it. I was talking about them on how it can impact me and how I could learn from them. Yeah. And the next thing is be enthusiastic, but smile while you're talking, even on a phone. It doesn't matter, just smile. Your moods will reflect on the other person's end. He'll hear the smile if that's possible. Yeah, he'll hear the smile, and yeah, and I think that also helped. The next thing is um, what was it? Research on the company you're applying to. As I've said, you see, I had some time. I looked over the work they have done, like all those companies I had listed down on my A4 paper. I had researched all of them that I were calling, and I know what they were doing. Yeah, so you see, it gave me an advantage. I wasn't just blank while talking to them and telling them, oh, I'm looking for a job and something like that. They could see that I have done my research and I know what I was saying. Yeah. The next thing is, what is it? Tell them what values you will be. Tell them like the values you'll add to the company, like what you are good at. Yeah, what you are currently learning, how it will help them, like how what you are already good at will help them, like, yeah, so stuff like that. uh of course, you're bringing value to whichever company you're going to. They're not just giving you a job to go and stay. Yeah, you should be, there's some value you should be providing. Yeah. The next thing is, do not go straight to the point. Yeah, beat around the bush. If that is it. What I mean by this is like, you don't know how the day of the other person has been going. So first of all, greet them. Say if it's morning, good morning. If it's evening, like, have a point to know, like, how has their day been, and it pays off. And when you finally, after you finish talking, the small things matter. Tell them good night if it's night. Tell them have a great day. Yeah. So those were some of the things I was doing, and I think it really helped me. And the other two places, like, that I got called back on July. One of them, the connections I was telling you about, one of the connection came through, and I was called back. And another company, uh, this is an Indian remote company. I just randomly applied in Geek for Geek. If you've heard about Geek for Geek, they post jobs in India, and I randomly applied because it was remote and I was qualified. I was called, and I was sent for an email and was told that if I was still interested, I could I could inform them and they could tell me when to begin. And so finally, the criteria used when choosing the place to work in. So as I've mentioned, so far, okay, this is two companies I was called back through calls. One, it was an interview and a test. I succeeded, and yeah, so those were the three companies I was called to in June, and it was all in a duration of 1 week. So there. And now I'm going to mention some of the criteria that I used while picking the. Now I'm mentioning some of the criteria I used while picking the place to finally get my internship. And as I've said, this company that I called, the first one, they told me I could begin without sending my CV or documents. They told me that you come to the office and begin work on Monday, and it was a Friday, and so that is where I went to. I'll mention the name of the company. It's called Permatech Global Solutions, and it has been a nice experience working with them. So I began work on Monday, and on that Monday, I received another email from the place I had taken the interview and the test. They were telling me that I could begin any time that week, but because I had already started at Permatech, yeah, I stayed at Permatech. The other company, it was through a phone call, and they actually replied on like Wednesday, and I called them on Friday. Yeah, so I didn't go to that place. I stayed to work with Permatech. I loved Permatech because the owner believed in me, and I was like getting hopeless and starting to think that I'm not good at what I do. Like, if I can't get even an internship, and I was willing to work like, yeah, just like that. That if I couldn't get an internship, what was I good at? And so the owner of Permatech believed in me, and that was the route I went with. I declined the interview and the test, though they were paying me a lot of money. Not a lot. I'm still a student, so to me it's a lot. I declined that. Yeah, and the other place, it was too late anyway. I had stayed at Permatech for almost 3 or 4 days already. And yeah, so that's it. I'm glad you've been with me all this time. See you. It's called back, and another company. Uh, this is an Indian remote company. I just randomly applied in Geek for Geek. If you've heard about Geek for Geek, they post jobs in India, and I randomly applied because it was remote and I was qualified. I was called and I was sent for an email and was told that if I was still interested, I could, I could inform them and they could tell me when to begin. Yeah. So that is it. I'm really glad you're still with me, and hope to see you when I'll be posting the next content. I'm really hoping it will be big. There's something coming up that I'm planning, and I hope it will be big. Yeah. So thank you. Have a great day.